note it and let me know. It has been asked in your mains, even in your prelims. For the please make sure that if I say something, you people have to write here. Okay? Get paper from your friends. If you have not brought any paper, please give them some sort of paper. Help them out. And please make sure that you are present on everyday basis. You are coming for one day. Most of the people I have been seeing, you are coming for one day and other day you are not coming. Then what I have to do, tell me? Right or not? It is loss for you at the same time. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand what I say. Right? So I was talking about which one? Election Commission, right? So with respect to Election Commission, we also teach how to conduct election in almost all the African nations. So that is one among the thing. So election is not new to us. So we have been seeing from 1500 BC onwards, right? So most of the kingdoms that were Vajji, Avanti, right, Lichavi, so everything were republican in character. That in turn means people elected them. So that is, people elected the ruler. So that is the speciality of elections in India. Even when we talk about Cholas, right? So you have election. There is elaborate procedure for election with respect to Cholas. When you look into that, so I am talking about 10th century AD, 9th and 10th century AD. You have Urayur inscription, which talks about how the election has to be conducted. What has to be the qualification of the candidate who stands in election? Are you getting me? Now you say 25 years of age for studying for MP elections, especially with respect to Lok Sabha. Citizen of India, 25 years of age, and many other things. You should not own any office of whatever the thing, right? So with respect to that, what happens is, these people have mentioned that far before itself. They in turn made sure that the people who are residents of that particular area has to stand in election. He has to have certain amount of wealth in that particular area, and this is how the election has to be conducted. So everything has been given in clear manner. Are you getting me? So when you compare the election commission and its role with respect to the countries of the developed nations, we are far superior in terms of many aspects, right? But the thing is, when we talk about the other thing, what is the problem with respect to that particular aspect? People say, sir, they give money, sir, for voting, right or not? So that should be stopped. That should be stopped, right or not? So giving money, that should be stopped. Then who has to stop that? There arises the question. Who has to stop? Whose role is that? Because these people, one who are conducting election commission, elections in India, right? So they in turn get the assistance of the people who are working in state and central bodies. It is not that they are having their own staff. Are you getting me? So that in turn makes it hard to prevent people from giving money. Because after elections, one or the other party will come to power, right or not? So under them only these efficient administrators has to go and work. At that time they would be having the possibility of getting fired, right or not? Are you getting me? The police, you have given the complaint, okay, that is the thing, sir, here people are giving money for voting purpose, right? So the police comes and takes action. At the end of the day, after the result, whichever the party comes to power, he would call him and what it does. Are you getting me? So that is the problem with respect to election commission as such, right? So that is not the personal problem or specific, to be specific. So that can be rectified. Are you getting me? That can be rectified. So those are the things that has to be remembered while talking about election. Now when coming into these republican characters, people were electing, right? So people were electing the rulers. So that becomes one among the most important thing, right? So and the administration was done according to Dharma Shastra, the law of the land, right? So that becomes another most important thing. The law of the land was in turn recognized, and it was the basic principle on which the Raja has to rule the country. So that is one among the things. And when we were talking about religious aspect and many other things, so we were talking about there were some sort of changes with respect to religion as such at that particular period of time, that is in and around 6th century BC, right? So with respect to that particular aspect, there were the birth of two new religions. One is Buddhism and another one is Jainism. We will talk about that in detailed manner. What were the two important types of religion, and what were the principles of these two types of religion? Okay, how it has been divided into. For example, when we talk about Jainism, it has been divided into two. One is Shvetambara and another one is Digambara, right? So what is Digambara? Digambara refers to sky is the cloth. Are you getting me? It in turn means for any people. I am talking about people. Religion has been practiced by people, right? Right? So they in turn mean sky is the cloth for them. They feel that. Because when any baby comes out of the womb of mother at the time of birth, do you think that any cloth has been worn on its body? No, right? At the same time, when it is dead, its body would be there, and we are the people, we have been using cloth over a period of time, right? So that is why we make sure that the dead body also has been covered with cloth, right or not? So cloth is not with respect, at the time of birth also there is no cloth, and at the time of death also, right? There is no need for cloth. In between, why we need to have cloth? Why we need to wear cloth? So that is the concept of Digambaras. Are you getting me? So that is the concept of Digambaras. They never wear cloth, right? They never wear cloth, and their policy is ahimsa. Jain people follow ahimsa to the core level. When you talk about Jainism, right? So every year, right, they need to fast for 15 days minimum. They won't be consuming anything, right? They won't be consuming anything. They would be living with water. So that is the thing, and they have certain pattern with respect to their daily life in terms of having food. They won't be having it after 6. Especially they would be finishing their dinner around 5 p.m. So that is the thing that has to be remembered, because there are possibilities of insect which are falling on our plate, and we would be consuming that. So this religion becomes very hard to follow in present day scenario.
So their food habits were also different.
Yeah. Yeah, their food habits were very different. And when we talk about Shvetambaras, so this is the basic aspect. I am not getting into the topic, but the thing is, you need to know what is what, right? So when we talk about Shvetambaras, right? So they were the Shweta means what? White. Shweta means white, right? So they were the people who were wearing white cloths. Are you getting me? One who were covering their body with white cloths. So that is the thing. And with respect to this, Jainism, there is a fest called Mahamastabhisheka. Mahamastabhisheka. So that is done once in 12 years. It is an event which is done once in 12 years. So that is in Shravana Belagola, Hassan district of Karnataka. This has been asked in your mains, UPSC mains, IAS mains. Right? So if at all you need to understand what is Jainism, So you need to go to Shravanabelagola once in life. That is very good place. Okay. So there you would be able to see almost all the Jaina Tirthankaras who were in seated posture. It is hill. You would be climbing the hill. Right. It is the ritual, spiritual place for Jains as such. Right. So and when we talk about these Shvetambaras, right, Shvetambaras and Digambaras had some sort of differences. What is that we have to see, right? And when we talk about other aspects, what was the royal patronage with respect to these Jainism and Buddhism, that has to be studied. When we study about the rulers, we study about that. At the same time, when you take the it separately in separate manner, at that time also we would be studying them, right? So now the thing is, we would be talking in turn about after 6th century, from 6th century to 4th century we have covered in our last class, right? So what is the thing we are going to continue with, right? It is all about Mauryan Empire, right? From 6th century up to 4th century we talked about the rise of Magadha or Magad. Now we would be talking about the most important empire, that is Mauryan Empire. One second. Sir, pen is there?
Yes, sir, I will give
Ink? Okay, fine. Right, we would be studying about Mauryan Empire, right? So what is Mauryan Empire and who were the rulers of this particular empire, right? For that I want you people to study NCERTs first, and I would be going through multiple sources with respect to the history. Okay, you won't be able to understand what is what. I would be going through history of India, Mahajan. I would be going through ancient Indian books. I refer many books. So for me it is job. I know what to do and how to do. The thing is, for you people, what I say, try to understand that and try to apply that with respect to your examination. That becomes your job. Are you getting me? Because I take history, I need not talk about the 6th century BC. Yesterday, whatever I have talked, that I need not talk about in entire class. I would have said this is this, this is this, this is this, and I have gone out. Some people know that. The people, how many of you people have studied history as mainstream for any competitive examination? You have studied. You have studied for which exam, madam? UPSC. BPSC, that is Bihar Public Service Commissioner, right? So what I was talking about, some people knows, right? So no one touches the core of that particular topic at all. What they will do is, usually I say, that is when they talk about Magda, they would skip Magda as such. They would be telling the 3 to 4 rulers' name and they would be skipping the thing. But I don't want to do that, because this particular area you need to understand in depth manner. So please try to concentrate on what I say. That is more than enough. You study NCERTs. I will bite the bullet and I will make sure that you get all the things done. What else you require from me? What else you require from me? And other thing is, you people have to go through the MCQs of UPSC. I told you people, right, from 2000 to 2022, right? You people please go through your preliminary examination question paper and try to know what sort of questions have been asked in your preliminary examination, and make sure that you understand certain pattern and you understand the way I teach. I would be in turn giving you certain facts. Those facts you won't be getting anywhere. You would be rarely getting, because I would be taking from many of the books such as this. Okay. So when the question has been asked, it would be asked in in-depth form. It would not be lightly taken, or I want you people to understand the NCERTs, because at least you have to have some knowledge. and you would be also listening to whatever I teach. This is optional book actually. And I would in turn make sure that you write optional questions. Again, this is optional question paper which starts from 1979 up to 2022. Optional paper. I want you to write generalized questions from the optional paper so that you people can score well. So please try to concentrate on class and make sure that you write something and give it to me. I would be able to do something. Are you getting me? Today also we would be talking with respect to history in detailed manner. It is not that I am focusing on certain exam, I am not focusing on certain exam. Are you getting me? So that is the thing. When we talk about the Mauryan Empire, right, Mauryan Empire. So what is the time period of Mauryan Empire? It is said that from 322 to 325 BC, Chandragupta Maurya has started Mauryan Empire. He had set up Mauryan Empire. So that is what we come to know about this particular empire, right? So then up to what time these people were ruling, right? So from 325 BC to 187 BC, 187 or 185 BC, right? So that was the span of last ruler of Mauryan Empire, that is Brihadrata, right? So Brihadrata was the last ruler of Mauryan Empire. When we talk about Mauryan Empire, what are the sources for developing the history of Mauryan Empire? Again, all these things becomes your UPSC questions, right? What are the sources? There are n number of that is literary sources. First, there are n number of literary sources, right? So, and there are n number of inscriptions that has been dated to the time of Ashoka. Art, architecture, everything which gives elaborate information about the Mauryans. What is the speciality of these Mauryans? These were the first people. Through them we come to know, so okay, these are the things that has been happened. This is what the condition with respect to India, right? So when we talk about the origin of Mauryans or Chandragupta Maurya, right? So when we talk about the sources, Puranas are one among the major source, Puranas, right? So Purana says that this Chandragupta Maurya is from humble background or humble origin. So that in turn indicates he is born to lower Varna, right? He is born to lower Varna. So that is what this Purana says about him. And when we talk about other aspect, that is Mudra Rakshasa, again it is a literary source, Mudra Rakshasa. It has been written by Vishaka Datta, which gives elaborate information about Chandragupta Maurya, how he claimed into power, how he became the king. So entire thing with respect to Chandragupta becoming a king has been written in Mudra Rakshasa. So that is also another most important source. And another most important source is Malavikagni Mitram. Malavikagni Mitram. When we talk about this Malavikagni Mitram, it in turn talks about the murder of last ruler of Mauryas, that is Brihadrata. Malavikagni Mitram talks about the last ruler, the assassination of the last ruler. So that is Brihadrata. So again, this is one among the thing that has to be remembered. And again, that is Harsha Charita. Harsha Charita, it has been written by Banabhatta, which in turn talks about the uprooting of Mauryans and the setting up of Sungas. The assassination of Brihadrata by Pushyamitra Sunga has been written in Malavikagni Mitram. Are you getting me? So this is also one among the source with respect to the history, right? And what are the other sources? Raja Tarangini. Rajatarangini is written by Kalhana, right? It is written by Kalhana, which in turn talks about the rulers of Kashmir in chronological order. So that is the speciality of this book, Rajatarangini, right? Which talks about the rulers of Kashmir in chronological order, in an order. So which in turn, Rajatarangini gives an information about the control of the Mauryans' control over this particular place, that is Kashmir. Ashoka was ruling Kashmir. It was under his domain. So that is one among the things that has to be remembered. And we also get to know lot of other information from Buddhist and Jain texts, right? So when we talk about Buddhist and Jain texts, it gives elaborate information about socio-economic, political and cultural aspects of Mauryan time period. Are you getting me? So Jain textbook, Jataka stories, right? Jains and Buddhists, all these things gives what? Elaborate information about socio-economic condition. And we have another book which has been written by foreign author, that is Megasthenes. He wrote Indica, right? Megasthenes, he wrote Indica. So which in turn talks elaborately about the Mauryan administration. It also talked about the neighbors, Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, right? What were they special for? How was the trade relationship at that particular period of time, right? He in turn talks about the social setup. When we look into the society as such, this person, that is Megasthenes, talks about social setup, and he talks about 7 sort of slaves were present in India. 7 slaves, 7 different types of slaves were present in India. So that is what Indica gives. Indica gives much of the information, right? So that is one among the things. And Arthashastra becomes very, very important. It is a treasure, that's what we can say. It is a treasure which gives information about almost all the aspects, that is polity, administration, economics, law and order, whatever you want, right? So you will get it from Arthashastra. So Arthashastra was written by Kautilya or Vishnugupta. Arthashastra was written by Kautilya or Vishnugupta, which in turn has 15 chapters, that is Adhyayas. 15 chapters, and we also have around 180 sub-chapters in Arthashastra. 180 sub-chapters, 15 main chapters. So these are all the sources of history with respect to Mauryan Empire. Are you getting me? Why this empire becomes very, very important? Because there are many sources which talk about many things with respect to Mauryan Empire. The sources is very vast, because they people have been studying about the Mauryan Empire from 2000 to, that is 200 years before, 100 years before, or even immediately after the end of Mauryans. We will come to know, we will get to know that, right or not? So their information is much accurate, even 500 years, right or not? Now we are sitting around 2500 years ahead of their time, and we are talking about this particular time period, right? So then these are the sources with respect to Mauryan Empire as such. Now what are the things that has to be understood? We talk about the rulers who ruled Mauryan Empire, right? So first and foremost thing, let us start with what is the word Maurya. So Maurya in turn refers to Murra. Mauryas in turn refers to Murra. So that in turn, in some cases, historians say that Murra, it in turn means that a person born to lower origin, right? So some historians say that this person, that is Chandragupta Maurya, is born to lower origin woman from Nanda dynasty. Are you getting me? his father might be the king, but the thing is he is born to Shudra woman, something like that. So that is one among the thing. Murra also at times indicates peacock, right? So he is from that origin, people say, right? And another most important thing with respect to Jain text and Buddhist text, that is what is a Buddhist text and Jain text, they considered him as he was born to Kshatriya clan, Deepa Vamsam and Mahavamsam, right? They say that this person, that is Chandragupta Maurya, was born to warrior clan and he is a Kshatriya, right? So this is what with respect, in the birth itself we have this many things that is going around, whether it is the ruler is Kshatriya, Brahmana or Vaishya, Shudra. So that is how things are going on. In today's scenario, in Tamil Nadu, people are claiming Raja Raja as 1 year, Raja Raja as from this community, that community. But the thing is, we are not able to do what he is doing, what he has done 1000 years before, in terms of administration, in terms of naval security. He was the guardian, he acted as the guardian of the entire Southeast Asia. Can you imagine that? Right? So the entire Java, Sumatra, Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, everything was under his control. So that is why, and even up to Bengal, it was under his control. So his contribution is immense. In the same way, when we talk about this person, that is Chandragupta Maurya, right? So we try to know many things, right? He is the greatest ruler of all time. He was having enormous wealth. He was the richest person of all time. Why I enter mean to say this? Because the territory that this person has occupied, he has ruled from Afghanistan to Bengal, Himalayas to Karnataka. Can you imagine the length and breadth that this person has ruled? Are you getting me? Right? So that becomes very, very important. Right? So when we talk about this particular person, that is Chandragupta Maurya, we talked about his origin. Right? Now we have to talk about what are the achievements that has been done by this person. Right? So especially in and around that is 305 BC, something like that, 300 plus 300 to 320 BC. So in that particular period of time, what happens is this person meets Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was met by Chandragupta Maurya, but there is no sort of information. There is very, very, very less information with respect to this, and that we come to know he met Alexander from Greek texts, right? In Greek texts, this Chandragupta Maurya has been mentioned as Sandrokutas. His name is not mentioned as Chandragupta Maurya, CGM, right? So his name is mentioned as Sandrokutas, right? So while meeting this person, that is Alexander, Chandragupta Maurya insists that you need to attack or you need to invade Magad. He was okay with that. This person, that is Alexander, was okay with that. But the thing was, the word which he has used in front of the Alexander the Great, right or not? So that was something, it looked like commanding, and he has to run away out of the sight of this Alexander the Great. Are you getting me? Because what is the way you talk with elders, right? What is the way you talk with your superiors? So that comes into count. So at that time, right? So he met this Chandragupta Maurya met Alexander in and around Taxila or Taxila. That is northwestern part of Afghanistan, right? So after that he ran from there, and at that situation it is said that Chanakya seen this person, Chandragupta Maurya. Chanakya has seen Chandragupta Maurya, and by knowing about his capabilities, what he is capable of, he trained Chandragupta Maurya in almost all the aspects, especially warfare, right? Arts, warfare, economics, finance, and every other aspect, whatever the ruler needs to have. Are you getting me? So that is the basic thing with respect to Chandragupta Maurya as such. After that, what happens? With the support of the Himalayan king, he invades Magadha and captures Magadha. He had to wait for some time until the death of Alexander the Great. So that was the thing. If Alexander comes in again, it would be a problem, right? So that was the thing. And he made sure that after the death of Alexander, he made sure with the help of the Himalayan ruler, he attacked Magadha and he captured it. At that particular period of time, what happened? The one who assisted the ruler of Himalayas as well as the last ruler of Nandas, both of them died. So obviously, the Himalayan region comes under his control, as well as the Nanda dynasty or Magadha comes under his control. Are you getting me? Right, so this is the basic thing with respect to northern and that is central part of India. When we talk about that is northwestern part of India, especially Punjab, right? So he annexed Punjab in and around 322 BC. 322 BC, he annexed Bengal, that is Punjab, right? After that, he has to wage war with respect to Greeks, right? The Greeks who settled in India at that particular period of time, Indo-Greeks, right? So Greek forces were nothing but the forces of Alexander the Great himself, right or not? So they have come from all the way from Macedonia and they have settled in and around northwestern part. Alexander returned back. On the way of returning back, he was in a mindset to conquer the entire world. Alexander was in a mindset to conquer the entire world when he started from Macedonia, right? His home country. After that, what happens was, he crosses Iran, Iraq, he defeats them, he gets into that is Afghanistan and Pakistan, modern day, that is Himalayas, right? He gets into there and he fought with Porus. There were another ruler called Ambi. Most of the rulers were not ready to fight with Alexander, they just surrendered. Okay, are you getting me? And Ambi was the person. And when we talk about this person, that is Porus, he was the person who fought against Alexander, right? So that was the scenario. After defeating Porus, he wants to move towards that is parts of Nepal and China. That was halted at that time due to the reasons. The main reason of that was the soldiers were homesick. Though you might be the king, you have to read the mentality of the soldiers, right or not? So they have to be given leave. They were out of the country for more than 3 years. So at that time they need some sort of rest, stress busters, everything needs to be given to them, right? So that was the scenario. And again, what Alexander did, he in turn wanted to, okay, you people, half of the people, he said that you go back, that's not an issue. I would try to accomplish my goal and I would in turn return. While crossing that is Himalayas, he fell sick. He fell sick and he was not in a position to move. And at that time he decided, okay, we'll go back to the home country, homeland. So at that time what happens was, he died on the way while going to his own country. The bad thing with respect to the world history is the death of Alexander at that particular period of time. Because if he would have been in any direct part of India, he would have been saved. He in turn insists in his last words that I have been surrounded by doctors, but I would be able to see my death. which is coming on to me. So that was the greatest thing that has happened to the fear of death, right? So his death was due to malaria, mosquito bite, right? In India we had medicines for that. So if he would have been alive, right, he passed away in very young age. If he would have been alive, and he would have gone back and come again later in order to conquer the world, right? So that was very much possible. So that is all about Alexander. When we talk about this person, after him there were many generals. Whatever the area that this person Alexander has captured over a period of time, that has to be administered, right? So especially northwestern provinces, that is Herat, as well as Kabul, Kandahar. So all these regions of modern day Afghanistan, right? So all these regions has to be administered. So one among the major person, one who was in charge of war, was Seleucus Nicator. He was commander of, he was one among the commanders of Alexander. Are you getting me? He was one among the commanders of Alexander the Great. So what he intended, he stayed in that particular place and he started to rule. Okay. So by that time, when Chandragupta started to rise, he invaded the northwestern part of India, and he got control over, he defeated this person, that is Seleucus Nicator, and he got over 4 places, especially that is Kabul, Kandahar, as well as that is Herat. So all these things were under the control of Chandragupta Maurya. And he gifted, this Chandragupta gifted around 500 elephants to that particular person. He is Seleucus Nicator. And he had a matrimonial alliance with Seleucus Nicator. Some historians say the use of that is elephant was not known to the Greeks in terms of battlefield, right? So that was used by Indians. That has been the use of elephantry has been used. So what he did was, he gifted 500 elephants. Okay, play with this elephant, get trained with respect to these elephants. Okay, and Seleucus Nicator married his daughter Helen, her name is Helen, right, to Chandragupta Maurya. So this is the starting of Mauryan Empire. So whatever the sources say, right, so he was from humble origin, he was a Kshatriya, irrespective of whatever it might be. What is the contribution of Mauryans with respect to Indian history? This becomes very, very important for your mains, UPSC mains. Are you getting me? This Maurya, why does this Mauryan Empire becomes very important? It is very unique aspect with respect to Indian history. Whatever is India today, right, in terms of geography, in terms of political map, it has been, the credit goes to people like that of Chandragupta Maurya, right? So as well as Padmanabhananda, Samudragupta, that is Akbar the Great. Many people, the credit goes to many people, right? Why I am saying this? Especially with respect to this particular dynasty, that is Mauryan dynasty as such, right? So these people unified India. First thing, the unification of India was for the first time taking place under these Mauryans. The entire India, maximum 90% of India, today's India, was under the control of Mauryans. The land area was much bigger, because in today's scenario we do not have Pakistan. In today's scenario we do not have Afghanistan. Even with respect to northern part of Jammu and Kashmir also, above Jammu and Kashmir, I am talking about Central Asia, some parts were under their control. So this is the territory that these people rule. Are you getting me? Now, unification, right? And at the same time, these people protected India from the ill eyes or bad eyes of foreign people, protected Indian boundaries, right or not? He made sure that this person, that is Seleucus Nicator, he made sure that he is far away from Afghanistan, right or not? So that was the scenario with respect to this Chandragupta Maurya. These people made sure that foreign invasion has to be checked or has to be stopped. Always the northwestern part of India has been a buffer zone from then up to today, right? So he made sure that he protected, he had his own checks and balances in order to protect India from foreign invasion at regular times. These people were able to do it for around 150 years. Are you getting me? After the death of Alexander, Chandragupta, some historians even say Chandragupta gave freedom to India because it was under Alexander, right, to some point of time. At the same time, it would have been under some other people's hand if Chandragupta Maurya was not such powerful person, right? So that is all about Chandragupta Maurya. That is the importance of these people. First one is unification, and second one is protection of India from foreigners, foreign invaders. So that is another most important thing. And their contribution is immense with respect to almost all the spheres with respect to history. When you talk about economy, they played a very pivotal role. When we talk about polity, when we talk about administration, the administration that we follow is most of the part has been taken from here. Are you getting me? We have a concept, they had a concept called Adhyakshas. In today's scenario, if that has to be the case, that is IAS officers. Adhyakshas for each department they had. From around 27 to 32 departments were there. Department of Mining, Department of Gold, Department for Foreign Affairs. In today we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have Ministry for Mining. We have Ministry for Road Transport. Are we doing anything new? Nothing, right? So there was elaborate aspect with respect to administration, right? So in terms of administration, their contribution is immense. And in terms of other aspect, that is society as such, in terms of religion, in terms of military, they had a standing army of 6 lakh people here. 1500 years before, 2500 years before, they had a standing army of 6 lakh people, and they were paid money in terms of salary. Can you imagine that? Today, in today's scenario, what is the capacity of Indian Navy Army put together, Indian defense? It comes around 10 to 12 lakhs. Entire staffs put together. They were more than half of that at 2500 years before. They had elephantry, they had cavalry, they had chariots, they had horses, they had infantry. Right? So that was the strength of these people. Their contribution is immense with respect even spy system, whatever today we talk about RA and IB and other things, right? So spy system. The report has to directly go to the king himself, right? So who does RA report? Make sure that who does RA report to? Who does IB, Intelligence Bureau report to? Search something. It is all your UPSC preparation is all about searching and getting things done here. It is as simple as it is. Keep your main syllabus, then you can go ahead with whatever it is, right? Now we talk about the other aspects, that is so that is art and culture also, they have contributed immensely. All right? So what is the area at which these people, that is this Mauryan Empire, what is the stretch of the area that this Mauryan Empire was having? I draw a rough diagram, okay? Please don't mind that sir is not writing properly. I would in turn make sure that you understand things. So when we talk about India, what was the control of Mauryans, right? So actually from Afghanistan, in and around Afghanistan, right? So up to Bengal and up to parts of Karnataka. And this was the extent of entire Mauryans I am talking about. To be specific, that too with respect to Chandragupta Maurya alone. Are you getting me? So we have enormous information about that. Who was responsible for capture of which territory? Right? So that is why the sources become important, whatever I said earlier. Right? So when we talk about these things, especially Kalinga is there, right? Kalinga, modern day Orissa. Right? So this was not captured by Chandragupta Maurya. Is it very clear? And almost all the other parts, that is even the southward expedition, was done under the time of Chandragupta Maurya. So how do we come to know that? Chandragupta Maurya at his last days, right, where he fasted and he was waiting for his death. The person who has ruled these many areas. Can you imagine what I say, intern mean to say? The person who ruled these many areas and he was the richest of the world and he was able to do whatever he wanted to, right? He left everything and took sannyasa. Are you getting me? He left everything and he took sannyasa and he became Jain monk. He became Jain monk under the insistence of Bhadrabahu. He left his throne. There were almost all the procedures were there and he handed over every responsibility to his son and he left home. And he settled in a place called Shravana Belagala, I told you earlier, right? Shravana Belagala. And there he fasted until his death. So Digambaras, right? Their procedure and everything is very difficult to follow. Right? So from there we come to know he is in Karnataka, right or not? Chandragupta Maurya he was in Karnataka in modern day, right or not? Hassan district, that is where you have Shravana Belaga. That in turn indicates what? He had control over south also. He had control over south also, up to Karnataka, up to parts of Karnataka. That can be known, right? That can be known from this particular person, right? So this is one among the things. And what about the other things? I told you how he conquered, that is Magad, right? So with the help of that is Himalayan ruler, he conquered Magad. So the ruler's name was, what was the name of that particular ruler, right? So his name was Pravartaka. Parvataka. Parvata means hills or mountains. So with his help he tried to capture and he was successful in capturing and annexing Magad. And that is how the Pavartaka also has passed away in the battle. So he got over the Himalayan regions. And he fought with Seleucus Nicator and made sure that he is out of here. And he had a greater control over this particular region, right? So almost the western part of India, you would ask, sir, what about this, sir? What are the sources, right? There is a lake called Sudarshana Lake, which has been repaired by a person called, one among the greatest ruler of Saka dynasty, Saka Satrapas, right? In and around 150 BC. He mentioned that I have repaired the Sudarshana Lake, which was built by Chandragupta Maurya. Are you getting me? That in turn indicates what? This particular, that is this region, that is Vidarbha, parts of Maharashtra, the western belt itself was under the control of Chandragupta Maurya himself. Are you getting me? These were the things that were achieved by a person called Chandragupta Maurya. If at all I want to finish this thing in 10 minutes, what I can do, I would in turn say, okay, write down 4 to 5 points about Chandragupta Maurya and close that. What is in your guide, yeah, that is the thing. But what is the situation that you have to understand? I need not talk about unification of India. Are you getting me? I need not talk about other aspects such as India was stopped from foreign invasion. All these things are for you people to understand what is what and write it in your mains, UPSC mains. Right? So this is one among the things that has to be remembered. Chandragupta Maurya. So he handed over all his responsibilities to his son, that is Bimbisara. Right? So then what he does is he takes sannyasa. He takes sannyasa and he never comes back. Taking sannyasa is, though you might be the ruler of so-called this big territory, right? So sannyasa is all about following certain rituals, following certain things. Right or not? If we have 10 crore rupees, what we will do? Our feet won't be on the earth itself, right or not? Whoever sitting here, some people might be very rich, but the thing is, I in turn insist, what a person is capable of, but how he has lived his life. That is why these things makes a person great rulers. Ashoka the Great, we talk about him. Right? Chandragupta Maurya, we talk about him. Though he was patron, he was the follower of Jainism, he did not patronize. He was not in a position to patronize Buddha, that is Jainism as such. He supported to the minimum level, that's it. It is not that he has the entire control over Jainism and he started to preach and he started to spread Jainism. So that was not taking place at this particular period of time. Now, what is the other person? The son is Bimbisara, right? So when we talk about this particular person, right? So with respect to Bimbisara, he is also called as slayer of foes, right? Amitragata. Amitragata means slayer of enemies. Slayer of enemies. Right? So there arises the question again. So how did he get this name? Right? Slayer of enemies. So when we talk about this person, we have very limited information. And the thing is, though you can get very large property, right? Your father might give you hundreds of crore rupees, but it is your capacity to retain that property, right or not? So he was a good son, he retained it. That was the biggest achievement of this Amitragata, or that is Bimbisara. Right? Bindusara. One second, Bindusara. One second. There yesterday I told Bindusara or Bimbisara. Yesterday I told Bindusara, then today Bimbisara. One second. Right, today we talk about Bindusara. Right, Bindusara. So this Bindusara is called as Amitragata. Right, layer of enemies, slayer of enemies. Right. So when we talk about this particular person, right, he in turn maintained this large territory of India in very good manner. Are you getting me? He protected it from foreign eyes. Right. He gave very good administration to these people. So that is the biggest achievement of this person. And another most biggest contribution of him was the gift of Ashoka to the people of India. Right or not? So he was considered, Ashoka became Ashoka the Great. Right? So when we talk about this Bimbisara, that is Bindusara, first and foremost thing, what are the things that we have to remember? He had many sons. Bindusara had many sons. Among that, there were two contenders to to take over the throne from his father. Right? First was Sumana. Right? Sumana. And second was Ashoka, the Great. What happens at the time of this Bindusara, northwestern province, especially Taxila, right? So it was having some sort of problem, turmoil. The people were against the people were having some sort of clash, and it was also due to the external affairs which were intruded into that particular area. So the actual ruler who was responsible for the region, that is Gandhara region, this region in and around Taxila, was Sumana, right, the elder son of this Bindusara. He failed to suppress this revolt. So at that time, there was another most important province, that is central province, right, Ujjain, which was ruled by Ashoka himself. Ashoka was given the in charge of this particular region. So Ashoka was sent to stop the revolt of the people, to bring back everything to normalcy. So Ashoka was successful in doing that. Ashoka successfully tackled that particular scenario, and he made the revolt to stop. So that in turn shows his character, what sort of character this person is. Right? And when we talk about the other aspects with respect to this Bindusara, he was having very friendly relationship with Indo-Greeks, right? So that is one thing. He was having very good trade contact and very good trade relationship with Syria. So that is in another thing. He maintained very good relationship even with Egypt. So he used to export wine, fig, and he was asking for Greek philosophers. He was asking for send me Greek philosopher. The ruler of Greece says that philosophers are not for sale. The philosophers are not for sale. So that was the thing with respect to this person. That is Bindusara. Right? So there is no clarity about other aspects, but the thing is he followed Ajivika sect. This becomes very important for your examination. Write a note on Ajivika sect. Write a note on Ajivika sect. Write a note on Ajivika sect. At this time, this particular time, the Syrian contemporary was Antiochus I. Antiochus I was the contemporary, the king of Syria at the time of Bindusara. Right? So that is one among the thing. And Dionysius was the ambassador of Egypt. So he was the ambassador, please write down. He was the ambassador of Egypt. Dionysius. Dionysis. Right? And again, with respect to this particular person, that is Bindusara, he followed Ajivika sect, and he was very good at administration. He was having around 500 ministers. Are you getting me? 500 ministers to take care of entire belongings. So can you now imagine what is the elaborate aspect of administration? It was all about centralized administration. Centralized administration with elaborate bureaucracy. Are you getting me? Today what is the thing? There are council of ministers to aid and headed by the prime minister to aid and advise the President of India, right? So again, with respect to Council of Ministers, they had their own department, right? Amit Shah has his own department, Home Affairs, right or not? Dr. Jaishankar has his own department, Foreign Affairs, right or not? So there are people who are working for this department, especially IAS, senior IAS officers, right or not? So they used to assist these people, those people who are in power in today's scenario. In the same way, these Council of Ministers were assisted by Adhyakshas. Are you getting me? They were assisted by these Adhyakshas. So he had elaborate bureaucracy. He had around 500 ministers to take care or to cater to the needs of the people of the entire territory that he was ruling. Right? Now let us talk about Ashoka. Ashoka the Great. So if there is any doubt, you please ask me. I will. Yes. Anything to be asked or anything to be clarified for you people? Yes. In NCERTs, you won't get this many information. The thing is, you try to understand things. That is why I elaborating. Right, we will go with Ashoka. Fine. So when we talk about Ashoka, what is meant by Ashoka? What is the meaning of Ashoka? What is Shoka? Shoka. Sorrow, right or not? Shoka in turn refers to sorrow, right? Ashoka in turn means doing away with sorrows. Are you getting me? Doing away with sorrows. There are certain names like this, especially Humayun. Humayun in turn refers to boon, but his life was a curse. When you understand whatever the history about Humayun, you would get to know it was all about curse rather than becoming a boon. So what about this person, Ashoka? Right? So doing away with sorrow is all about Ashoka. Right? Then what was the character of Ashoka at this particular time? Right? So when we talk about Ashoka, we split Ashoka's life into two parts. That is, one is considered to be Digvijaya, and another part is Dhamma Vijaya, right? So Digvijaya in turn refers to winning the battles. Dig means war, right or not? Dig means war, waging war, right? So that is Digvijaya. Dhamma Vijaya means spreading of philosophy, right? Spreading of certain things and making sure that he wins the heart of the people. So at his initial stage, right, he was the person who was more focused towards Digvijaya, right? So that is one among the things. What is the time period? It was around 272 BC to 232 BC. 272 to 232 BC. He ruled around 40 years. Are you getting me? He ruled around 40 years. So that is the basic aspect, right? So what are the aspects of Ashoka in his early days, right? He was, most of the historians, some of the historians says, he killed his 100 plus brothers in order to claim the throne. Then how ferocious he has to be, right or not? So even in the movie called Ashoka, how many of you people have seen that movie? I don't know. But the thing, there were many attempts to kill Ashoka, and Ashoka killed them in order to retaliate that. Sumana was one among the competitors for Ashoka. It in turn says that he was very ferocious in his early days, right? So gaining throne was not an cakewalk for him. It took at least 8 years for him to be in that particular place. Are you getting me? In order to claim the throne, it took around 8 years for him. Right? He got coronated at the 269 BC. 269 BC. So that is one among the thing. And when we talk about Ashoka, what are the things that we in turn look at, right? What was the addition that was made by Ashoka in terms of political sphere of Mauryan map or Indian map, right? So this Ashoka always concentrated on Digvijaya. I have told you earlier also, at the time of Bindusara, he was shifted to there, that is northwestern province in Taxasila, and he stopped the revolt, right or not? That was his capability. And over a period of time, what happens? He also mentions that southern neighbors. He also mentions in his Rakhu edict, Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas and Satyaputras were his southern neighbors. Right? Are you getting me? So with respect to that aspect, what was the territory which was left? It was Kalinga. It was Kalinga. In and around 261-62 BC, he captured Kalinga. He captured Kalinga in 261 to 262 BC. Right? So with respect to that, after capturing Kalinga, he was having immense pain because he lost many things. I told you the other day, that is porcupine strategy. Though the Kalinga was very small, like an ant to Ashoka, but the thing was, it has made huge damage to Ashoka's image, prestige as well as economically. Why he needs to capture Kalinga? There arises the question, right? Sir, he has these many territories. A person having 100 houses is looking for some house which is not his. So it is something like that, right? So in such a scenario, what was the need for Kalinga? Any reason, any specific thing that can be said? One thing is, it was his, just like it's his immediate neighbor, one thing. And at the same time, in order to have greater strength over, that is the Bay of Bengal, it is a strategic location, right? Even in today's scenario, it is strategic location, right? So with respect to that, he in turn wanted strategic location, so he wanted to make sure that it is under his control, right? So he invaded, he waged war against Kalinga in and around 261 to 262 BC. After Kalinga war, around 2.5 years after the war, he converted himself to Buddhism. Right? He converted himself to Buddhism. And he started talking about ahimsa. He was centered around himsa. Right? So over a period of time, how he transforms the life of a person from a rude person to very sattvic. It doesn't mean that he was very sattvic and other things. There are questions with respect to that. Are you getting me? We will talk about all these things in elaborate manner. Because when we talk about the decline of Mauryan Empire, people blame Ashoka's Dhamma policy. Are you getting me? In mains also you get a question, do you firmly believe that Ashoka's Dhamma policy had made India's defense weak? Okay, the thing was, he sent all his, kith and kin in order to propagate Buddhism to different parts of the world. They did not know what is Raja Dharma. The primary aspect of Raja Dharma is to protect your own territory. And all the other things comes after, right or not? Right? So when we talk about this person, that is Ashoka, right? He started to transform himself and he followed Buddhism in and around 258 259 BC. It was under the influence of Upagupta. These names become very important. Upagupta. He was the guide of Ashoka with respect to his influence on Buddhism. There has to be some person. Sorry. There has to be some influence of some person in one or the other way in order to have greater control over any sort of religion as such, right? So what is the thing here? And when we talk about the Ashoka was helped by Radha Gupta in terms of attaining the throne. This you won't be get to know. Very limited information this is. Are you getting me? Radha Gupta, a person called Radha Gupta, who helped Ashoka to attain the throne. So that is one among the things that has to be remembered by you people. And what are the aspects of his Ashoka's Dhamma? That we have to deal with it in detailed manner, right? So what is the implication of Dhamma of Ashoka in terms of Mauryan Empire as such, in terms of post-Mauryan period? Everything we would be talking about all those things in detailed manner, right? So is there any other questions that you want to know? Otherwise we will go into what is Ashoka's Dhamma. Chanakya's role was up to Bindusara. He was, look at him, whenever you study history, people say only it is not that there were commander, there were many people. It was Chanakya, the one person, one who was the brainchild, one whose brainchild is Mauryan Empire. Are you getting me? Chanakya guided, assisted and done everything with respect to Chandragupta Maurya in order to claim the throne. He did, you do this, he guided. That is the role of Raja Guru. Are you getting me? That is the role of Raja Guru. At the initial stage itself, I told you that is Chandragupta Maurya attacks Nandas, right or not? According to me, after that only he meets this person, that is Alexander the Great, and insists him to defeat Nandas. There is a dynasty called Nanda which is very precious, but which is against the interest of the people, right or not? But Alexander did not have that particular interest. So that is one among the things. And the way you speak, that also matters a lot. Now with respect to Ashoka's Dhamma, right? So when we talk about Ashoka's Dhamma, we get to know a lot of information about Ashoka. We get to know a lot of information about Ashoka through certain things, that is his rock edicts, his pillar edicts. These are the major source of information that we get. So his administration, with respect to his administration, whatever he wished to convey to his people, it was through shasanas. Shasanas means the written order of the ruler himself. It was in many of the script. It was in many of the script all over in Pakistan, in parts of Central Asia, even in parts of Karnataka. There are many other facts that we look into while I talk about facts. Fine. So now we will get into the basic facts. There are some particular facts that has to be remembered by you at any cost. So with respect to that, when we talk about Ashoka's Dhamma, right? So Ashoka's Dhamma, we talk that with respect to Rock Edict 7 and 8. Right? Rock Edict of 7 and 8 talks elaborately about Ashoka's Dhamma. Then what is Dhamma? Many of the people, many of the historians themselves had got a confusion that this person is talking about Buddhism. Are you getting me? Because in Babru Rock Addict, he says that I firmly believe in Buddhism. Babru Rock Addict, he firmly says that I follow Buddhism. So in such a scenario, even the historians in modern context, they feel they have sort of doubt that whether this person is talking about the Dhamma that the Buddha spoke about or Buddhism speaks about. So that was the question among the historians. Okay, so but the thing is, later most of the historians in today's scenario agree the Dhamma that Ashoka spoke about was not that the Dhamma which was preached in Buddhism. Are you clear? Am I going slow? Please, if you have any doubt, please ask me a number of times. I don't blame for such things. If you have any doubt, you can raise. Okay? So when we talk about this Dhamma, then what is this Dhamma? Right? So this Dhamma is all about moral code of conduct. Right? He speaks about, in this Dhamma, he speaks about moral code of conduct. What is moral code of conduct? Why it is required? So you have to understand this particular concept in multiple angles so that you can write very well in mains. There would be definitely a question from Ashoka's Dhamma. Out of 3 exams you attend, Ashoka's Dhamma plays very important role. So you have to make sure that this is not the Dhamma which has been followed by Buddha or Buddhist texts. Let me be very clear, frank about it. And what is this Dhamma talks about? So that in turn deals with first and foremost thing, that is moral code of conduct. Right? So these are the do's and these are the don'ts with respect to the people. Right or not? Doing of good things. That is what the Dhamma talks about. Doing away from bad things. Ashoka considered himself as the father of his, as the father to the entire dynasty that he ruled. He was a fatherly figure. Right? So that is why he talks about all these things. Okay. So Ashoka, when we talk about Ashoka's Dhamma, so moral code of conduct, the basic ethics or basic minimum criteria or basic minimum things that a person has to follow. Are you getting me? What is that? To be very precise with you, how can we become very good human being? First one, respecting elders, right or not? Respecting parents, right or not? Respecting your teachers or gurus, right or not? And helping the needy, right or not? And treating everyone equally, right or not? So all these were the basic principles of Ashoka. Sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Right? So all these were the things with respect to Ashoka. Right? So when we talk about Ashoka's Dhamma, so these are the things that has to be remembered by you people. And he also was the preacher of Ahimsa. The ruler preaching Ahimsa becomes very, very important. What is the message that you are sending to the society? Even at the time of 6th century BC to 4th century BC, we talked about vegetarianism with respect to Kshatriyas. That has been followed here. Right or not? So that is also one among the things. And another most important aspect is he talked about the accumulation of wealth. Are you getting me? He talked about what sort of wealth you have to accumulate, how much you have to accumulate. You have to accumulate for your purpose, or what is the limit of your wealth? What has to be the limit? Because too much of wealth ruins the people. That is what he in turn meant to say. How you have to spend. A king talks about the spending of money that has been earned by the people. Can you ever imagine in your dreams a a king says all these aspects at that particular period of time. In today we can see, if a king is an economist, then he would in turn make sure that certain things are said to the people, especially Dr. Manmohan Singh. He was an economist, right? He was taking good care of economy as such, right? So that is what here he talks about philosophy. He talks about the basic aspect with respect to spending. He talks about almost all the things. He touches everything. So these are the basic principles with respect to Dhamma of Ashoka. Are you getting me? These are the basic principles with respect to Dhamma of Ashoka, where he also concentrated on giving medicines for orphans, and even he insisted on treating of animals. When he took over Buddhism, he left hunting. He was not going for hunting. So all these are the basic things that in turn would be remembered by you people, right? So when we talk about other aspects, that is right here, that is what the thing. To be simple, to be precise with you, what is Dhamma? Doing of good things, going away from bad things. So those were the basic things that has to be remembered. Is it very clear? Right? In Rock Edict 5, Ashoka talks about welfare activities. He talks about welfare activities undertaken by him. He also appoints Dhamma Mahamatras to propagate Dhamma, and they were sent to different parts of the world. Dhamma was not in favor of any religion. So all these things we get to know from Rock Edict 5. Right? So Dhamma was not in favor of any religion. He in turn insists that I am not following Buddhism. Right or not? Right? This gives elaborate information about that. Rock Edict 7 and 8. Rock Edict 7 and 8. So all these, from these areas you will get a question. You can get a question. From Rock Edict 7 and 8, first point, respect elders, parents, teachers. To show respect to elders, parents and teachers. Equal treatment to all religion. Equal treatment to all religion. Ahimsa. He talks about ahimsa. He talks about accumulation of wealth, moderate accumulation of wealth. So all these where you would be able to get the information about this in Rock Edict 7 and 8. Rock Edict 1, where he talks about restrictions on animal slaughter. On Rock Edict 2, next one is Rock Edict 2. He talks about construction of roads, wells, afforestation, preparing medicines for men and beasts. I told you, right? So he was also preparing medicine for even animals. Preparing medicines for men and beasts. Right? Rock Edict 13 talks about Kalinga War. right? Edict 13 talks about Kalinga war. So we have elaborately talked about Dhamma, right? So now we have to understand certain thing. What is the need for Dhamma? What is the need for Dhamma? Any guesses? Any wild guesses? Peace. Okay, fine. You should not. I am asking about write it in 250 words. Peace. Peace is a single word, right? So, what is the need for Dhamma? What can be? At least, yes. What can be? What can be the reasons behind the need for Dhamma? About to avoid wars. Okay. Any other thing? Yes, please.
Maybe he has seen the sufferings in and around his region and he wanted people to have a better life, and that's what.
Super. Right? The thing is, the main thing is this. The Dhamma was useful for him in order to rule the entire area. Are you getting me? You need to have certain things that are in uniform in nature, right or not? You have to make sure that the people of Afghanistan, the people of Karnataka, the people of West Bengal feel the same. Are you getting me? It is the indication that the Raja is giving that we are united, we stand united. Are you getting me? Same, because in most of the places the language is different. Okay, the religion that the people all around this area, people, different people follow different religion. At his time only, at the time of Ashoka, he himself was follower of Hinduism at the initial stage, and he became Buddhist. Okay, and there was his grandfather was following Jainism. Right, there were many set of people. Right, he had to administer them by winning the heart of the people. Are you getting me? Winning the heart of the people becomes very important. So there has to be a set of rules irrespective of your that is religion, language, or whatever the area you come from. The basic principles has to be same. So that is why Dhamma became the state policy, the state craft. Are you getting me? So that is the need for Dhamma. Without Dhamma, can you imagine that the entire thing was could have been ruled under one ruler. He had his shasanas, right, that is rock edict in almost all the parts, even with respect to Nepal. We get lot of evidence of Ashokan administration with respect to Nepal. He had control over Nepal. Are you getting me? So everywhere you get a rock edict of Ashokan time period, which conveys the same meaning which he wants to convey. That is Dhamma. That is moral code of conduct. He insists his people to follow certain set of rules and regulations that he has conveyed through his shasanas. Is it very clear? So that is how you can unite people. Right? There arises the question, right, whether this person, that is Ashoka, done this, brought in the concept of Dhamma for the purpose of fulfilling his political desires. Obviously yes. Right or not? Right? So I give you other some reasons also for that. Sir, he says all these things fine, sir, then how can you say that, sir? Right or not? So Dhamma also talks about ahimsa. Right or not? Dhamma talks about ahimsa. But the thing is, there was a capital punishment at that particular period of time. He was following ahimsa. To what extent there? That's the matter, right? Right? Capital punishment means death sentence. If you are following ahimsa, then you are providing death sentence to your people. What does it in turn means? Are you getting me? He was not against war. So that is the difference of Ashoka. You people need to understand. He was not against. That is this thing, and he made that his administration worked really well. He made sure that in order to propagate his Dhamma, he arranged the set of people called Dharma Mahamatras, Dhamma Mahamatras, to propagate what is Dhamma to the people of entire Indian subcontinent. That is what the government of India does today. Yeah. What do you say? Whether it is Jan Dhan Yojana, whether it is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Yojana, whatever it might be, what does the government does? It provides advertisement in newspapers, magazines, TVs, right or not? So he has done everything in terms of his shasanas, written order. Are you getting me? This is what with respect to Dhamma. He made sure that the people follow certain rules. And at the same time, he also was insisting on capital punishment was there at his time. That he does not in turn mean that he is following ahimsa or Buddhism, right or not? And another most important thing, whenever there was any sort of problem, he was ready to resist that, control that, bring that into control. He was following two methods. One is carrot and another one is stick. Carrot method is feeding carrot to the rabbit. Okay, you do this, do that. Or feeding carrot to your babies, for that example, to do certain things. Right? So when your baby does not do that or goes against that, you would be punishing, you would be beating, you would be doing something. Right? So that the baby does that in proper manner. So that was the policy that was followed by Ashoka. Right? So this is all about Ashoka's Dhamma. Right? Any questions with respect to Dhamma? Any questions? Any clarification that you want from Ashoka's Dhamma? Are you getting the basic point that I said you? Right? The basic point revolves around it is moral code of conduct rather than religion. Most of the historians mistaken it up to today. But the thing is, they have, at least with some references, something, they have come to the conclusion that okay, this sort of person was Ashoka. We have very limited people who are called the greats. Right? Who are called the greats. Why Ashoka was called the Ashoka the Great? Because of his Dhamma. Any other thing? That is also one among the reason. The first and foremost thing, the Raja asking sorry to the people whose life has been rotten by him. He asked sorry to the people of Kalinga. It is on the records. Are you getting me? Whatever I have made a blunder. I have made a mistake. Okay? So with respect to that, as a father, I ask you sorry, and I would in turn treat you people as my children. Are you getting me? So that is why Ashoka becomes Ashoka the Great. It is Raja Dharma for any ruler to wage war. No one can question that. It is his authority, it is his discretion. Right or not? Are you getting me? It is Raja Dharma to wage war. He has not done anything wrong in it. But the thing is to ask, openly to ask sorry to the people of Kalinga. That makes him somewhat different from other rulers. We have Napoleon in terms of Indian history, right? Samudragupta. He used to wage war. He has won thousands of battles. The approach is different with respect to different people. Are you getting me? So he was the first person to do that. Right? So now these are the things with respect to Dhamma. Now you have to tell me whether Ashoka's Dhamma ruined this Mauryan dynasty, or which led to the downfall of Mauryan dynasty, Mauryan empire as such. Again, this is your means. Yes or no? Huh? Yes. Because most of the people, Ashoka himself, his son and daughter were sent to propagate Dhamma. They were also Dharma Mahamatras. They went up to Sri Lanka. In modern day, if there is Buddhism in Sri Lanka, it is due to the contribution of Ashoka. Are you getting me? In Southeast Asian countries, the Buddhism was patronized only by Ashoka. When we talk about the Buddhism, the spread of Buddhism in Central Asian countries, there comes Kanishka. Are you getting me? He concentrated this side, Kanishka concentrated northward. So that is the basic difference. Now, when we talk about this, after Ashoka, right, the disintegration of this Mauryan Empire started to take place. Within 50 years, the entire kingdom started to collapse completely, right? So he was up to 232, and the last ruler of Maurya, that is Brihadrata, was around 187 to 185 BC. Within 50 years time period, there were 8 rulers who ruled this, and Ashoka's territory was divided into two, and which was taken by Punala one, and another person is Dasharatha. Dasharatha was one of the person who was capable of handling Mauryan Empire to some extent. Dasharatha, he was the grandson of Ashoka, right? So he understood the concept of Dhamma in the way that Ashoka taught Dhamma. And all the other people, his son, daughter and everyone, they were patronizing Dhamma like anything, and they became philosophers of Dhamma, or they patronized Buddhism to such an extent they were following Ahimsa. Due to that, there were many sort of turmoils in each and every part of the country which was going around at that particular period of time. So that became a very big headache to the people, right? Especially to the ruling class as well as to the people. So this is one among the thing. And another most important thing is, these people were in a dilemma whether to follow Digvijaya or Dhamma Vijaya. Are you getting me? You have been brought up in Sattvic manner. If some person, Gunda or someone, comes and attacks you, or say bad words on you, what you will do? You people won't be in a position to do anything except to listen to whatever he says, right or not? So that has been happened with respect to the successors of Ashoka, many a case. So that was biggest, whether to go with Digvijaya, whether to go with Dhamma Vijaya. Because all these people were carrying books and philosophies, and how to hand over sword, that becomes a problem, right or not, at the time of war. So that was again a basic problem with respect to the downfall of Mauryan Empire, right? So too much propagation and too much insistence on Dhamma, which in turn played an important role. I am not telling it is the only cause. Are you getting me? Let me be very clear. You people need not mistake me, right? So that was important reason behind the downfall, collapse of Mauryan Empire, right? What were the other reasons? Economic crisis was there. Economy started to slowly go down. So that was also one among the reason, right? And another most important reason was the successors of Ashoka were weak. The main reason, the successors of Ashoka were very weak. The successors has to be strong, otherwise it is not at all possible to unite anything. In Tamil Nadu, right, in today's scenario, L. Murugan, he is central minister, right? So he in turn makes, he comes from Kongu Nadu. There is no district called Kongu Nadu in Tamil Nadu. But in Government of India's Gazette, he mentioned it as Kongu Nadu. Because BJP has its stake in Kongu Nadu, in and around, that is Coimbatore and that particular belt. Are you getting me? If we lose strong leaders, then what happened? There is possibility of splitting of state. Are you getting me? It might be due to administrative convenience, it might be due to any reason. But the thing is, What is the role of strong ruler? He unites the people. Uniting people becomes very, very important. And when we talk about Dhamma, I also, politics in religion, write down, politics in religion are inseparable, right or not? Dhamma, can you elaborate this words with respect to Dhamma? Politics in religion. Today, what does Modi ji talks about? He talks about Sanatana Dharma, right or not? He talks about many other things, Hindu philosophy, Hindu culture, without saying that he is following that. So that has to be the basic character of a leader. Are you getting me? You in turn give a clue that I am you. These leaders are very hard to be defeated. Are you getting me? These are the set of leaders at the time of, there are two kind of people. When does Jagan Mohan Reddy is there, right? When does he enters temple? At the time of election or before the time of election? Because I am talking about all these things because you people are aspirants of IAS, right or not? When does other people, KSR okay, I think he follows all sort of rituals, so that is different thing. When does other people, even in Tamil Nadu many people are there, and so these sort of people who are in turn making sure that they want to showcase themselves for Hindus, Muslims or whatever the community they belong to at the time of election. But this person like Modi, 365 say what? 365 he carries the philosophy of Hinduism. Now you imagine, is it possible to defeat Modi in this aspect? Are you getting me? In one or the other way, Hinduism has been getting branded. It has been in the sort of some sort of right or not, banning of Hindi movies. Again, political hidden agenda. We are not going to deny that, right or not? But the thing is happening. So he gains strength. He is Ajata Shatru again with respect to Indian politics. Difficult to be defeated. If at all, according to me, there were one person who could have defeated Modi, it was Jayalalitha. Other than Jayalalitha, there is no person who can stand near to this person, because she is face of Hinduism. She was, right, one thing. And another thing is, she can speak Kannada. In Karnataka, if she enters in Karnataka, she can speak Kannada. If she enters to Telangana, she can speak Telugu. In Tamil Nadu Assembly, there was a debate which was going on. One MLA he was speaking Telugu, and he was saying that, Madam Garu, Miru Telugu vadiki emadu cheyandi. He was asking something. She, on the spot, she stood up and said, Em cheyali chappayya. Em cheyali, nen em cheyali. That person again, he was an MLA, I am talking. You can go and Google it in YouTube. There is a video. Madam, em cheyalo meeke telusu madam. Nenu cheppaledu. Em bagundo adna cheyandi. He said, and he closed that. Why I intend mean to say is, she can handle Telugu. She is very fluent in Hindi. She is unbeatable with respect to English. Are you getting me? So that is the character that is needed at this particular period of time in order to rule India. Modi, this person is making the candidature with respect to PM more competitive than any other person. I am talking about leadership. I am not getting into politics. Please try to differentiate both things. I am talking with this sense, that is politics with respect to religion, right or not? He intends come to Telangana and talks Telugu. He intends, it is not that the pronunciation is not right, he is not doing that. People at the end of the day think in such a manner that he in turn takes steps to talk Telugu. Are you getting me? How many of the people who are here and grown here and having everything, but they hardly speak Telugu. He enters into Tamil Nadu and speaks Tamil, 2 to 3 lines, which in turn is making India where the future Prime Minister of India has to know 5 to 6 languages bare minimum, right or not? So these are the person who is capable of ruling the country. It becomes, if he is really capable, he makes other peoples to work. Modi's department, whether if most of the people, if you ask any IAS officers or anyone, so they work for around 14 plus hours. In Sonia Gandhi's rest karo bhai, to taklif nahi hai, right or not? So that is the scenario. How we work. Are you getting me? So these are the basic things which makes a leader. Mamata Banerjee was talking too much, right or not, in the before 2021 election. What has happened to her now? Are you getting any sort of news? SSC scam, right? And Arvind Kejriwal. So leadership is inbuilt. If at all you need to defeat Modi, you have to be Modi, or you have to be in the process on the footsteps of Modi. So that is what with respect to Ashoka. If you have to be Ashoka, right? He was the protector. He was the guardian of the entire territory, and he followed Dhamma. Are you getting me? There was capital punishment. There was lot of amount spent on standing army at that particular period of time, right or not? Everything was maintained in proper manner, right? He unified people by saying, talking about Dhamma. We are one. We are humans. Dhamma talks about humanitarianism. Are you getting me? We are humans. You need to respect your father, mother, right? Teachers, elders. You need to do charity, right? So you need to be sympathetic to all the living organism. Follow ahimsa, hoarding of wealth. He talked about everything. So this brings in a concept called, right, including people in terms of administration. Inclusive growth, right or not? So in order to rule a diversified country like that of India, you need to have this quality, right? Is it very clear? And I was talking about the reasons behind the downfall, right? So the successors were weak. The last ruler was Brihadrata, right? In terms of administration, the last ruler of Mauryan Empire was Brihadrata. He was killed by his commander-in-chief Pushyamitra Sunga, right? So that in turn indicates what? That is that giving any sort of sign? That too, I hope on the public place. This Brihadrata was assassinated by Pushyamitra Sunga on public place. He was against, he was not good ruler, right or not? So they set up Sunga dynasty. He assassinated this Brihadrata, and which made the downfall, the closure of Mauryan Empire, and there he set a Sunga dynasty. Are you getting me? So this is what with respect to political history. I was talking only about political history until now. So we need to talk about economy, political condition and other things. Social condition and other things. That is very easy, right? So any doubts until now? This is how you people, why I spent this many times, much time, because it consists of 20 to 25 marks. 20 marks with respect to your mains examination. How to interpret things. You should not confuse and you should not write whatever comes in your mind. Dhamma was not about religion. Dhamma was about moral code of conduct. If you write that as first line, then okay, the examiner will understand what you are coming to convey. The first point has to be right or not? Because if you are writing first point itself as a dilemma, then the entire answer would be in dilemma. Your answer would be in dilemma, right? What were the questions? Let us see what were the questions that were asked. Critically examine the sources for the study of Mauryan dynasty. This won't be asked in your mains, because I have told that with respect to that depth, right or not? I was talking about literary sources, right? So I gave all the books name, Indica and other things. Critically examine the sources for the study of Mauryan dynasty. How are they useful in understanding the administration? One thing. So that was the thing. It was asked in the year 1980. Same set of questions would be asked here in mains. So mains is all about your GS paper 1 is there, right? That is history and geography of India and the world. So there 125 marks comes from here. So what I want people to do is write whatever. If I give certain question, then you people need to write what is what. Are you getting me? So that I would intern streamline you people before going into the examination. Okay, then you would intern make sure that these points has to be eliminated. These points has to be given utmost stress. There ends the matter, right or not? So that is where you get 3 to 4 marks extra from other candidate, and which will help you in gaining very good rank. Bring out the elements of change and continuity in domestic and foreign policies of Ashoka. Can't you write this? Bring out the elements of change. Dhamma. Right or not? Dhamma was the change that he has brought in with respect to India, even with respect to foreign countries. Right or not? Up to Southeast Asia, I told about Sri Lanka. His son and daughter were sent to Sri Lanka in order to propagate Buddhism. Right or not? Bring out the element of change. The element of change he talks about is that is Rock Edict 7 and 8. Right? All is Rock Edicts. You have to make sure that you write that in 250 words. Can it be done or can't it be done? Are you getting in what depth I am teaching? That is what I am telling you people. Can it be done or can't it be done? Right? Ashoka's Dhamma becomes very important here for you people. You go through GS papers also. That is what I intend to say you people. Every year there would be a question. Was India civilized before the advent of Aryans? State briefly the extent and striking features of early civilization. Can you write this? Was India civilized before the advent of Aryans? Before Vedic civilization, Indus Valley civilization, they were the first people in terms of urban civilization in the whole world. Right or not? They were civilized. In what are the example you people can give with respect to that? They were having toilets, yeah. In each house they were having toilets. At the same time they were having bathrooms. The drainage, whatever the water they were using while taking bath and many other users, right or not, that the water was drained into the seepage system that were constructed by these people in proper manner. Right or not? There were administrative headquarters at Citadel. Right or not? The roads were in right angle. Are you getting me? 200 words. Are you getting me? What has to be your point? First point, yes, India was civilized even before the advent of Aryans. There ends your answer. And after that, whatever you write is your explanation in order to justify your first statement. Are you getting me? Is there any difficulty in the in-depthness that I teach you people? And is it possible for you people to write? I am asking you. Right? Do you think that the economic factors were alone responsible for the disintegration of Mauryan Empire? The economic aspects were the only reason I told you what? I have given you the 4 reasons. Elaborate that. No, it is not so. There were many other reasons. What are those reasons? I am mentioning as below. Right? First and foremost thing, the policy of Dhamma played a very important role, because the kiths and kins of the ruler himself was sent to many places as Dharma Mahamatras to spread Buddhism. Right? So they were in a dilemma whether to follow Digvijaya or Dhamma Vijaya. Right? And another most important thing, the successors of Ashoka were weak. The economic condition was also getting weaker over a period of time. The rise of Brahminism, right, in most of the parts, the rise of Brahminism. So all these things plays very important role again, right? So that is the question. Are you getting me? So how to, I am giving an approach how to write an answer. You are writing it for just 200 to 300 words. Are you getting me? So make sure that you understand the topic and study the topic in depth manner, and make sure that you get things done. Analyze Ashoka's policy of Dhamma and account for its failure. The policy of Ashoka's Dhamma and account for the policy of Ashoka's Dhamma and account for its failure. You people can write, right? Writing for 200 words, 200 to 300 words. So this is the in-depthness at which you people have to understand. That is why I say you people, it does not, whatever I teach is not all about this thing. Dhamma has been given in a paragraph, that's it. In order to write that in your mains, how to interpret the question, that becomes very important. First of all, understanding UPSC's mains question. If you are understanding the question, 50% of your answer is over, because you would end up writing what you wish at your first line. In order to do that, you need to understand the question correctly. Are you getting me? Next, how do you account the decline of major cities of Indus Valley civilization? Right? Flood, environment, right? Flood was there, drought was there. With respect to Mohenjo-daro, I told it was flood. With respect to Harappa, it was drought. With respect to other places, there were degradation of environment as such, that is deforestation, right? Flood, and almost all the factor. And Aryan invasion also one among the factor. It was considered to be one among the factors. Are you getting me? Examine the administrative system of Mauryans and discuss briefly the causes for disintegration of Mauryan Empire. Let us split these two things. One is examine the administrative system of Mauryans. The administrative system of Mauryans was all about, one is centralized administration, I told you. King was the fountainhead of the entire territory, first thing. And another most important thing, when we talk about the administrative aspects of these people, king was the fountainhead, one thing. King used to issue shasanas through his inscriptions, orders. Shasanas are nothing but orders, right, through his inscriptions. That is one among the things, which has to be implemented by the people who are in administration, right? King was guided by council of ministers with the help of adhyakshas of different departments, right or not? So this is all about, there were Rajukas, there were Yuktas. I would in turn talk about them. I would in turn give certain aspects. Rajukas were there, Yuktas were there, Dharma Mahamatras were there, right? So as well as there were many departments. You in turn need to understand about different departments, and with respect to match the following in UPSC examination. Which among the following is correctly matched? 1, 2, 3 only, 1, 2 and 4 only, 1, 2, 4, 5 only. So all these would be the options that would be set in your UPSC. First go and see question paper. Today prelims question, go and how many of you people at least up to today, is there anyone who has seen question paper, UPSC IAS prelims question paper, right? Then I hope you people understand what I speak. Unless and until you go and see your UPSC preliminary question paper, you won't be getting anything. So that is, we have talked about what is administration. There were many people to help the king himself, right? So then what is the other point? One thing. And discuss briefly the causes of disintegration of Mauryan Empire. Disintegration, that is downfall of Mauryan Empire. Right or not? So rise of Brahminism after Mauryans, especially the person who was assassinated, that is Brihadratha, was a Brahmin who was commander-in-chief. He set up Sunga dynasty there, right? And another most important thing was, there were people, one who were administrators with respect to enter. Here, what happens with respect to this particular aspect? Let me be very clear about. So all these things were the basic aspect with respect to Mauryan Empire, right? So the thing is here, in and around Magad, so it was Pushyamitra Sunga who brought in, that is Sunga dynasty. Sunga dynasty. And with respect to here, in terms of Deccan, there were people who were assisting, who were the feudatories of the Mauryan rulers, right? The Shatavahanas, right? They were also Brahmins. The rise of Brahminism, which in turn led to the downfall of Mauryan Empire. Are you getting me? Right? Right? So the revival of Hinduism is taking place. So here you would be able to see Sungas. Here you would be able to see Shatavahanas. They ruled over a period of time. Again here you would be able to see Shakas. And here Chetar, Chedi. In South India you don't have any sort of disturbance, because it was ruled by Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas and Satyaputras. Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas especially. Right? So in this context, are you getting me? These people were assisting the Chandragupta Maurya as well as Mauryan rulers in terms of administration. They themselves became the rulers. If you want me to make sure, sir, I am not getting whatever you say, sir. Okay? So elaborate me in simplest manner, sir. Okay? I am ready to do that with respect to present example. Right? So India was under the control of India, not under the control, I should not say it as the under the control. So especially from the date of independence onwards, India has been ruled by Congress. Right? India has been ruled by Congress, that everyone knows. Right? So in such a scenario, it was in power. I am talking in terms of central government. Up to Madam Indira Gandhi, except the emergency time period, right? So almost all the prime ministers of India were from Congress family, right? So whether it is Jawaharlal Nehru, he had 3 terms, and after that Lal Bahadur Shastri, right? After that you had that is Madam Indira Gandhi, right? After that only JP and other people comes in that too for a shorter period of time. This in turn indicates what? That too, and after 1990s, you have been seeing coalition form of government, right? So from 2004 to 2014, what was Congress? Though Congress was ruling center, it was assisted by many of the peoples, right? Many of the state parties. It was a grand alliance. Okay? So the reason was, at the initial stage, Congress had strong stalwarts like that of Jawaharlal Nehru, and Madam Indira Gandhi, she was daring lady, right? So I hope you people have seen the emergency trailer. She says to some secretary comes and say, Madam, the American president says this, and she says, you don't mention me as madam, you mention me as sir. So that was the real attitude of Madam Indira Gandhi. Are you getting me? So she was very bold in taking decisions. So again it was under the control everywhere, almost. There might be regional parties which were cropping out at that particular period of time. From 1990s, especially from 1991 up to 2014, okay, you see the political dynamics with respect to India. There were many regional parties which were ruling many parts of India. Trinamool Congress, right or not? Which was actually Mamata Banerjee was part of Congress, Indian National Congress. And when we talk about NCP, Maharashtra, right? So the chief of Sharad Pawar, right? He was part of Congress. He was a congressman. He came out over a period of time. They came out and they started their own party. Don't go that behind here. You come to Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, right? TRS, which is the party of Jagan, YSR Congress, right? So YSR Congress, right? It is new party which has been, which was started just 7 to 8 years before, and he sat as the CM, right or not? So that in turn indicates what? Lack of leadership with respect to Congress High Command. Do you agree? Lack of leadership with respect to Congress High Command. So the entire thing was same with respect to these people also. The entire country was ruled by Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara, Ashoka, and after them the empire was divided into 2, 4, 6, 8 and multiple branches. Entire country was ruled by Congress, but the thing is over a period of time it was ruled, it has been under the influence of regional parties. In Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party. Even in Telangana, you have Congress as a major opponent. But the thing is, do you think that it is possible for it to retain at least the same status quo in next election? They will be zero. Are you getting me? The intent has to be shown. As a leader, you need to show an intent. Are you getting me? That is what you need to always. And what happened after 2014? What happened after 2014? Right? So every state has been that is concentrated by BJP, that is taking it everything under its hand. Centralization of administration. Are you getting me? I talked about the centralization of administration with respect to whom? Mauryans. Now centralization of administration. In one or the other way, it is happening or not? BJP is concentrating almost all these states. Look south policy, it seems. Today's scenario. That is Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka they are there. Kerala and right? So that is what? It in turn indicates the strong mindset of the ruler. That is what you people need to understand. Due to the strong mindset of the ruler, such as YSR, there was united Andhra Pradesh. Are you getting me? Here, that is why the ruler becomes important. After YSR, you did not have that commanding personality. Leader is the person. Why Ashoka did Dhamma Mahamatras, and he talked about the basic principle, which in turn connected him with respect to the layman. Raja need not give you anything, but Raja has to give you moral support. At the end of the day, that is what the people, for example, if I put you in other words, right? So if all the ration shops are closed, do you think that you people won't be eating? Most of the people, right? You people would be definitely having your food sufficiency, everything would be there, right? It is not that you people are expecting these sort of monetary benefits or some sort of thing. We expect a sort of, that is regulation in terms of what is happening in and around the state as such. Regulate many things. Regulate auto rickshaw if they are taking too much money, right? Regulate government departments without and make sure that they need not take bribe from you people. Make sure that the administrator has to make sure that there is many number of people who are coming into your state and making sure that the economy is growing. If you are able to do that, then you are doing your job correctly. It is not the job of the Raja to make sure that your basic necessities would be fulfilled directly by the government. He has to make sure in other way also, right or not? He has to make sure that it has to happen in other way, by bringing in more industries, by bringing revolution, reforms in terms of administration, in terms of efficiency, right? Are you getting me? So that is how things goes on, right? Today also swaha for notes, right? So are you getting me? Mauryans, we need to talk about these Mauryans with respect to some minimum aspects. You will be having a test. You will be having a test with respect to that, people would say you. Please make sure that whatever I have taught you, and go through all the NCERTs. Don't miss the classes. Fine. Any doubts or any questions to be asked?
So as you told that last ruler, Mauryan Empire was killed, was assassinated. As you told that he was a bad ruler. So in what way he was a bad ruler?
Bad ruler is, it might be of many things, right? The thing is, if he does not caters to the need of people, that in turn indicates what? Right or not? So at the same time, if a person collects too much of cash or too much of tax, right or not? So again,
He was following his father's footsteps, which was like
who?
the last ruler of Mauryan Empire. Like you said that they were propagating Dhamma all over the region.
I talked about great grandson of Ashoka. He is not grandson.
So they were not following this.
For what extent? Up to what extent? It is not that your capacity would not be same with respect to the others, right? So that is the problem. It is all about ruling a country, is all about mindset here. Are you getting me? Ruling a country is just like drinking water. But the thing is, you have to understand the mindset of the people. Are you getting me? In what way you can? In what way? You have to have empathy towards the people. You have to make sure that you are talking right, in right sense, in right manner. You have to follow whatever that could be followed to some extent. It is not that every ruler, every person who is the Prime Minister of India has to do all these things or fulfill their election mandates. It is not so. It is this thing that you in turn showcase to the people. Today's politics is very simple. People complicate it. The what has to be after attending your that is legislative assembly and whatever it is, you have to be in touch with respect to the people. People would in turn recognize you when you are going for some sort of marriage or some sort of death. By doing that itself, many people have won the elections. Do you know that? And participate in almost all the aspects. You need not solve their problem. Are you getting me? Whatever the problem we can solve, that we can solve. But whatever the problem that is not solvable, at least you can make sure that I know this problem. Are you getting me? I know your problem. I am here to solve it. Give them a hope. As an administrator also, same thing has to be followed. Most of the problems, you are trying to make sure that it has to be done. But the thing is, in most of the cases, it doesn't happen. There would be an order from High Command, right? In most of the cases, political interest, vested interest, everything would be there, right? Right? So why some of the officers are killed, right or not? There are many nexus, right? So there is a concept called criminalization of politics, and another concept is politicization of crime, right? If any person XYZ, she might be a girl, right? She might have died in college due to some reason, due to any reason, right? So what people can say is there has been harassment without knowing anything. I am telling about, right? Without knowing anything, these people come to the conclusion that these are the things that is happening. So that is the problem that has to be understood by you people. Don't be carried away by the newses. My humble suggestion is that, right? So don't come to the if you see any sort of news with respect to social issues, right, or woman harassment, whatever it is, there might be something which is on the back. Don't be just carried away by the news media people and their debates and everything. Arnab Goswami or whoever it might be. I am naming some, right? So you have to be balanced as an administrator, right? Modi also said, Modi ji said, by 2000, after the election, in 2014 election, we would be doing away with black money. Do you think that it has happened? To maximum extent, no. But the thing is, he had made sure that he has taken this step, demonetization, right or not? So in order to do that, you should have a will. There are two things here. First one is killing the snake, or bringing the dead body of the snake and showing that I have killed the snake. That's it. Are you getting me? Right? Are you getting me? You were not able to bring back the black money that was hiding in and around Swiss bank and other parts of the world, right? So what is the other way around? Because most of the people are from both the sides, right? So in such a way, what would happen? Okay, I would in turn make sure that all these 500 and 1000 notes has been hoarded. So I would in turn ban those and I would issue new notes. At the end of the day, you have to make sure that you have to make sure to the people. Again, they have elected him in 2019. There is, as if for now, there is no problem for him up to 2024. After that, who knows, Yogi Baba or who, right or not? So things go on in that manner. It is all about the willingness or the mindset of you people in terms of administration, right? Again, why I in turn talk about politics or give modern examples. If I would have said about the disintegration of Mauryan Empire and Mauryan Empire was broken into pieces, it would be hard for you people to imagine. Now what happens is disintegration of Congress is the disintegration of Mauryan Empire or any other bigger empire. That's it. Right? Fine. Thank you. If there is any doubt, please come out and I will be waiting there. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me.
Can you please wait?
Um,
Inside?